There's something I'm finding it very challenging to fathom or even imagine how people can even do such a thing, like young people selling their organs. And when you hear the amount sometimes that they get for these very precious body parts, it's so meager.
Honestly.
Words like 50,000 and 100,000 are being bandied about.
Yes. And what breaks my heart most is the fact that some people, some more informed people are taking advantage of these young people. I mean, it's another level of wickedness. I cannot wrap my mind around it, Thelma.
Inhumanity to man.
Honestly.
And now, they've sold one organ, perhaps a kidney, perhaps your liver, that maybe it's only one,
oh my
perhaps some fingers. What now happens when the money they've been given for this very precious life gift is exhausted? Are they willing to sell another organ?
Thelma. Question. Yeah, Thelma and I are just talking about organ harvesting. What exactly is organ harvesting? Organ harvesting is the illegal removal of organs from people without their consent. It could be for transplanting or for commercial purposes. Globally, organ harvesting or trafficking is a big concern, is an increasing concern, and Nigeria is not left out of it. As a matter of fact, the perilous world of organ harvesting in Nigeria is dark and very frightening, and it's affecting individuals, families, and society at large. Today on our show, we are delving into this very dark world with the hope of throwing light and preferring solutions. But you know we cannot do it alone. We need you, and that's why we are always excited anytime you keep our company. It is your favorite weekend show, Weekend Deal, coming to you from the network service of the NTA. My name is Patience Eloy Abba.
It's Weekend Deal, your on-time deal, your resilient deal, your untiring deal. While others are talking about organ harvesting, they're asking themselves, is it a rumor? This attitude and habit is alien to our culture. Yes, it is true, but we on Weekend Deal, we don't just leave it at talking. Yeah. We set to the doing and then the conversation, so that hopefully, along with those at the helm of the health ministry, we can set an agenda that will work for Nigerians. Well, Francis hit the ground running, talking to Dr. Sarki, who's a nephrologist, as well as Obina, who gives us inside gist on some activities ongoing in the FCT. Well done.
Many Nigerians have expressed concern over what seems to be a thriving black market and illegal dealings in organ donation, harvesting and transplantation in the country. The problem has garnered attention due to the prevalence of underground networks engaging in the illicit trade.
We've missed all this.
By definition of donation, meaning that it's a legal way. It's a surgical process by which an organ is being, an ill organ is being replaced by a healthy organ for the purpose of improving quality of life and prolongation of life. And we talk about trafficking and also organ harvesting. Those are illegal ways by which organs have been donated without his consent. Either he is alive or dead. Mostly people are being cajoled. Some people are being hoodwinked, and some people have been misled in such a way that their organs will be harvested.
The people who are involved in commercialization of it and also victims fall between the ages from 18 to 35, or let's say maximum 40. because they assume that they are energetic and they are also useful body parts.
Other organs such as the liver, heart and lungs may also be harvested depending on the needs of the illicit market.
Kidneys are the most targeted organ for harvesting, basically based on the surge of increase in prevalence of chronic kidney disease in the world, and then the demand for organ, because basically kidney majority is a paired organ, and in which an individual can donate one and can live with one. That makes it more precious for targeting for donation.
Most of our young people that have been traveling abroad recently, that have involved in these acts as a victim of circumstances, they don't even know. They lure people to come into a country in the guise of giving them a sense of belonging, greener pasture. That is one of the ideas that I've gotten from the people who has become victim, but they hardly come out, because people like us who are youth leaders, they interact with us, they tell us what they are passing through. They drug them, they take some parts of their body without them knowing, and by the time they get to know, they don't have any option, because they must have been unconscious when those things are going on.
In Abuja, the underground organs and body part market is reported to be lucrative as a result of a combination of factors such as poverty, lack of healthcare access, and a demand for organ transplants.
It's all over the news. Some parts in Abuja, especially in Maraba, as low as 100,000 naira, 50,000 naira. They don't take them unaware. They don't drug them before any other thing. They get them informed that this is what we want to do. They took advantage of their situation. Like, come, you need some amount of money to start maybe a pure water selling business or all these things. 100,000 is enough, but this is what we want. These people that are telling their body parts in Maraba, they don't actually know the health consequences of what they have done. By the time they realize it in the nearest years of future, they will regret it.
The scope of this issue extends beyond the city, involving hidden networks that exploit vulnerable individuals. Non-governmental organizations play a crucial role in combating the illegal kidney trade, raising awareness and advocating for stricter laws and enforcement, and ensuring healthcare accessibility to reduce the demand for illegal organ transactions.
It's short, so I will follow myself.
You will follow yourself? Okay. If you are not a professional healthcare service provider, a doctor, there's no how you can successfully harvest a human part. This time is no longer Yahoo. It is now harvest and kidney trafficking. And it's a quick business that is going on in the society.
We realize that majority of us blacks, sometimes we don't become very true. We always pretend that some information has been explained to us, but we pretend that we didn't understand them, or we later deny based on somebody can give a consent and can come back and deny the consent, and he has been told from beginning to an end the implication of what he's going to do. If the process has been followed thoroughly, even psychological assessment need to be done, because some people will come forward, they said they are willing to give their kidneys, but if you look at them, you examine them thoroughly, sometimes you see that mentally they are not so okay. So those people can give you a problem in terms of after harvesting and all that.
Tackling organ harvesting and the illegal kidney market in Nigeria requires a multifaceted approach. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on organ harvesting and illegal kidney market in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Francis. Organ harvesting and illegal kidney market. The name alone gives me the shivers. Okay, right now our first guest is here. She is our colleague, someone who has done an extensive research on this topic that we're talking about. Let's meet her virtually. Hajalami, welcome to the Weekend Deal Studios.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, you said something when you came in. Just say, I want Nigerians to hear. I mean, what did you say when you entered our studio? Just say it again.
I said this studio is big and beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Now we can get the show started. Now we can get the show started. You said you have done so much work. I don't know. You have actually done so much work as far as this research is concerned. What stirred your interest? Why do you say, let me research into organ harvesting? Why?
Actually, there are various forms of getting inspiration for a story.
Yeah.
For me, meeting one victim.
Okay.
Meeting one victim led to meeting as many as 5-6 victims of organ harvesting. We did the first story sometime in August. We met one victim. We dug deep into what happened, how he was lured to give out his kidney, and then how he was threatened to leave the FCT for Lagos State because people felt the need to silence him because they didn't want him telling his parents what had happened, and this was the minor. So we started with that one story to tell the world what was happening, to dig in, to speak with specialists also. What are the procedures? What are the ethical procedures in doing this? So we did that story, and after that story, we started to get people reacting. People were reacting. We started getting a lot of reactions saying, well, that's just one. There are other people who had also gone through this process, some minors, some actually below the age of 25. All the victims we spoke to were below the age of 25. And like what one of the nephrologists was saying, that yes, some people give consent. Yes, they do. Some people give consent because it's a market. You find that it's being driven by people want money. People are selling their organs, even if it means the fact that this is illegal. But then you also find minors who shouldn't know better. Because if you say that a minor also gave consent, it's just like saying someone had carnal knowledge of a 16-year-old.
Yes.
And then you say, oh, she gave her consent, but
yes.
the law protects her.
Yes.
Just like the law protects a minor from donating organ. And also he said something about psychosocial assessment. You need to assess these people. Why are they giving their kidneys?
What's their mental
Giving a kidney should be altruistic.
Yes.
Financial state. You give a kidney and then you don't have the wherewithal to take care of yourself after that. I think it's a red flag. When you look at the economic background of such a person, and he's telling you he wants to donate a kidney, that itself should be a red flag.
Okay.
The painful thing is that sometimes it's not them who go to say they want to give. Somebody does some research on them, knows they're financially challenged, and like the word you used earlier, they lure them. But when I spoke to some people before this package, we've got to learn that it's not only very young people who are lured. That means the lure is powerful, and it's not even dependent on the amount of money they are giving at the end of the day. While the nephrologists talked about people later changing their stories, Obina told us that in Gwarimpa, in Maraba, and some other parts of Abuja, people are giving as little as 50 or 100,000 for an organ.
Well, it's that bad. From our investigation, we found that people were lured with 1 million naira.
Okay.
But 1 million naira is just, the full payment, but you get to pay certain people their own commission. Because usually you plant agents. There's usually a kidney. It's like a tripartite arrangement. Sometimes you find a kidney broker who is like the middleman, who liaises with agents who source for these victims. The agents are usually in that community. Okay. They are part of that community. And most of the time you find that the agents have equally sold a kidney. Because it's easier for one who has sold his kidney to tell you that it's okay, I have a scar to show for it. I'm fine, I've sold mine, so you can sell yours. So it's more believable that way because you've seen that, oh, he has sold his and he's fine.
And that agent keeps getting return on investment.
Yes, so for every kidney, for 1 million, he gets 10%, 100,000 naira. He gets 10% from the victim and he gets from the broker.
This is mind-boggling. I'm just looking at you and I don't know what word to use. Now tell us of your first story, the first person you met. Tell us his story. How was he lured? What happened? Tell us his story.
And where he is today.
Where he is today.
Well, he's still with his parents, but he's been protected because,
so
like
happened?
I said, NAPTIP has launched an investigation and has made several arrests since our first story. Okay, for this first victim, he used to live around Masaka. So what happened was that he was getting ready to write JAM, and he was getting ready to go for his biometrics, and then one of his friends is like, come, there's a job. You know our young boys, sometimes they're looking for money, they need money, they hustle. So there's a job. So he's like, okay, yes. He started talking about the job. Okay, I'll take you, we'll meet him, he's going to give us a job. They met this man who happens to be the broker. And so they were now like, okay, we'll give you 1 million naira for the job. Okay, what is the job? Okay, your friend hasn't told you. Go and discuss with your friend and come back. So, of course, they discussed with the friend. The friend was like, well, he hasn't told me to, but he has called to say they need your blood sample because that's what it takes. So they go back for the blood sample. He takes his blood sample. They see whether it's a match, and it's a match. And they're like, okay. So the thing is that it's going to be, you're going to donate your kidney while we do this. So he's like, no. At the beginning, he's like, no, I can't do that. I haven't even told my parents. That was when they told, no, you don't have to tell your parents. This. Okay, we are not going to do it, but let's just get you to do some tests and let's see before. And then a day later again, he calls him and said, okay, what if I give you people part payment? And then the friend encouraged him, tried to convince him. It's just to go and collect the part payment. So they went for the part payment. Before you know it, he was taken to the court. He used a pen to sign an affidavit to say that he's related to someone and all whatnot. They were coming back, the car broke down. They were like, okay, can't you sleep over? Just sleep over, tomorrow you go. And then from his narration at night, they woke him up and said, well, it's time to do the surgery. Where is my friend? Your friend is already in the theater. So that he felt, okay, why not?
The friend was to receive the kidney? Or is
no, the friend was also given. But he didn't know the friend was actually not given.
Oh,
he had already given, yes. So that was what happened, and then he gave. And then when he recovered, he was asked to stay in a hotel for days. Meanwhile, his parents were searching for him. They had reported the matter to the police that they had not seen him. They had reported to other law enforcement agents. So after a few days, they told him not to go back home, lodge in a hotel, and he did that. But the money they were giving him, because he was using the same money to pay for hotel, and then kind of he was being harassed by certain people who knew he had money. Somehow people knew he had come into this money and they were harassing him. So he was paying these people off for his safety.
Harassing him
exactly
to
get part of the money.
This is the height of victimization. Emotional.
So at the end of the day, he was the same broker now threatened him to flee. If he wants to leave, he needed to leave.
All part of the setup.
Yes, so he had to leave for Lagos. But luckily, he went to a family friend's home, and he was there. And then he didn't tell them what was happening until, one day he was sleeping and he had removed his shirt. And then the guardian saw this scar. And he's like, but I've known this boy for a long time. There wasn't any surgery. And then, of course, he called the father and said, this boy is here, and this is what I have noticed.
On his body.
And so, of course, he started to talk. This was what happened. And the father reported to law enforcement agents to get him to come back.
The right thing
so that was how it started.
Wow,
yes.
It did. Hajalame, watching you, it's like you are opening something that is so scary. Like I was saying earlier, many will be talking, so this is alien to our culture. This is un-Nigerian. But for real, it is happening. And good thing you are here on Weekend Do, where we always table issues like this so that the world can hear. And those who are meant to handle it must know that the time is now. In fact, the clock is ticking.
It is.
Wow, we get to hear more from you. Now, Patience said earlier that she can't fathom how somebody can even give out something from your body. That's why NTA just tagged this one, the price of a life. What is the price of a life? That organ is your life. It's a living thing in your body. From Jaws, we get to hear that. There are also incidences like this. Jamila, what did you find?
The value of life is priceless, and for any human to function optimally, he or she must have his or her organs intact and healthy in the body. In recent times, organ harvesting has become rampant in the country.
Hence, he now said that they are going to operate me. So I obey all what he says at that very time. I seek, which I have never been experiencing that one before that operation.
cannot see.
Now it has come to the worst one now is that I cannot see anybody.
I had a stomach ache, went to the hospital. Then doctor said it is appendix and I need a surgery, not knowing that he was going to remove one of my kidneys.
The person in question, what have you said, the person is not even a doctor, the person is a quack, operating beyond even the scope of the registration of his own facility. The person was registered as a clinic, but it was operated as a hospital. Those are clear infractions. So for that kind of person, nothing ethical from our own perspective. Our code of medical is only for medical and dental practitioners, people that have gone to medical school and have been found worthy to be issued with a certificate. And you know, ours is not just certificates, that's what the university will give you. But your license to practice will be given by a regulatory body, in this instance, the Medical Dental Council of Nigeria. So this person has not fulfilled any of these requirements. He cannot come under the purview of code of medical ethics. So whatever he or he is doing is pure criminal, which is what? Quackery.
But you must inform the patient that will receive, that's the recipient, and of course the donor has to be willing, and he or she needs to know the implication of donating his organ.
The governments, international organizations, and the medical communities work to combat organ trafficking through legal frameworks and awareness campaign to ensure the protection of individuals and uphold ethical standards in our healthcare system.
You can transfer any organs. Of course, there are laws and procedures that guide any of such. The first thing, of course, the person must have the competence to be able to undertake that procedure.
Although the medical profession criminalizes organ harvesting, there are people that still practice the commodification of human organs.
Of course, they become commodities because they are being commercialized and all that.
We have to find a way to insulate our society from these abuses, either in commodification of organs or commodification of persons.
Professionals in the medical field have reiterated that organ harvesting is an illegal and unethical practice. It raises serious ethical and legal concerns.
How much do you adhere to what your professional qualification and expertise say? If you're not a doctor, don't go into the business of doing what a doctor should be doing. You're endangering the public. If you are registered as a laboratory, you should stop at conducting tests. You have no business issuing medication to patients. If you are registered as a medicine store or a pharmacy, you should dispense those drugs and offer advice to the patients on how they should take those drugs. You should not go into the business of treating burns, turning your pharmacy into a hospital. It's wrong. And the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with other regulatory agencies, are going to come up. We are already doing some work, but very soon we'll come up with some scapegoats that will make public to serve as deterrent to others.
It is therefore imperative to note that organ trafficking is illegal globally and is not an accepted or regulated economic practice.
Okay, so our guest is still here. I'll just come straight to you. How do you react to this? The fact that, do you think the government is regulating enough? Do you think we're doing enough to make sure that, we stop it totally?
I think the fact that we're beginning to see more and more of these cases tells you that more needs to be done. I think that even among medical practitioners, they believe that the National Health Act is not adequate enough in terms of regulating organ harvesting and transplantation. I believe that there is a need for a regulatory agency to check what medical practitioners are doing. Not just that this is what the law says. I think that we should have a regulatory agency that comes up with a list of people who need organ transplantation, would look at the procedures, how they get these organs, because just getting organs from the black market, it's just not right. A lot of people, Nigeria has as much as 20 million people suffering from kidney-related disease. So it's a huge number, and it means that more and more people will need a kidney. And then we're in a country whereby cadaveric transplantation is not common. We don't really believe in it. You find that in advanced countries, they actually rely on this. Yeah. Yes. So it means that you need a living person to donate for you. And most of these people prefer to get someone from outside. I don't know why people don't want to get someone from within the family to donate. People prefer to get outsiders. Perhaps they want to protect a member of the family. But can we do it right? Can we have a list of people who need this? Can we have a system within hospitals whereby we even have lawyers in a committee, we have psychologists, we have medical doctors, so that when people even want to donate, we look at their psychological state, we look at their financial state before we say this person is ready to donate. Not just because I'm 35 and I come and say I want to donate. Donation of kidney should be altruistic, but we are not seeing that.
But this is something that is happening abroad. Perhaps abroad they have honors. They have a bank, like you said, where if you need an organ, your name will go on a list where you can now access it. It's streamlined, it's organized. That is where, beyond that regulatory body, we need to know where people who require this can source it.
Yes.
Excellent.
Excellent. And that thing, I was going to ask her a question. You know, there are two ways you can get organs, from people who are living or from deceased people. Now, is it our cultural background? Why are people not giving their consent? Because abroad, you see people say, in case of an accident, I'm donating my organs. In case of, anything, I'm donating. Why don't we do that in Nigeria? Maybe if we did that, it could also help the bank, so to speak, and people know where to go. Is it because of our cultural background?
I believe so. I think it will need a lot of awareness to get into that, because if you look at it, people do not even know that it is illegal to donate to sell their kidney. They don't even know that, because they believe it's part of my body and I can do whatever I want to do. So there is a need for awareness, for people to start to think, okay, you can even give your organ when you're deceased. You can help someone. But then again, you've talked about our culture, our religion.
God forbid.
It's a dicey area, so whether people will accept that. But then again, there is always orientation. There is always trying to advocate these things. And then changes happen. It may be slow, but perhaps we should start to think along this line.
Okay, so joining our conversation now is the Honorable Minister for Health. Thelma and him had a chat earlier in the week. Let's meet him virtually first. Minister for
First up, if I'm to ask you this very candid question, if you were to describe the health sector in Nigeria, including its infrastructure in the different hospitals, what would you say?
With all honesty, the health sector before the advent of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was relatively okay, but not serving the need of our population. But in the last several months, after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over and was sworn in, he's made healthcare a pivotal part of what he's going to do for Nigerians. He campaigned that he would ensure that every single citizen of Nigeria gets meaningful and comprehensive healthcare, and he's followed up those campaign promises with action. You heard several of his comments. Healthcare is on the front burner. And what we've done, myself and Professor Pate, since we assumed the leadership of the ministry, we've made a lot of changes, several changes, and things are continuing to get better. We're not where we want to be, but we have the right trajectory now.
That sounds interesting. In theory, whereas the practical aspect of it now that we wait for with bated breath. But let's talk about our medical personnel. Oftentimes they are at the airports, boarding flights, leaving. we hear that they are not satisfied, and sometimes they follow it up with strikes for those who are here. Where are we with that?
Okay, good. You're talking about the so-called JAPA syndrome. And I'll tell you, I'm going to lay out several aspects of this to you. But one thing we should realize first is that I'm also a physician. Everybody that went into the healthcare sector, they went there just for the altruistic purpose. They want to serve humanity. It's not because they want to make a lot of money. If they wanted to make a lot of money in the first instance, they would have gone to more lucrative specialty. But then, they need a certain condition of service, their welfare needs to be taken care of, and the environment in which they work needs to be optimal. That's what's driving this JAPA. But then, on the other side, people are leaving, but what do we need to do to bring them back? But before we put all the infrastructures in place to put them back, what's the immediate thing? And the immediate pathway that we're going now is we have to leverage our population at over 200 million people. So we've quickly moved to increase production significantly since this government took over. We've doubled the number of enrollees into all specialties of medicine. We've doubled the number of students that have been enrolled in medical school from 5,000 to 10,000 from this academic year. The same thing for dentistry, the same thing for pharmacy. We've doubled the number of people. So we need to aggressively increase our production. And I'll tell you with nursing, before President Bola Tinubu took over, earlier part of this year, we're only enrolling 28,000 nurses into our various nursing school. Today, we've increased our capacity to 68,000. Before the end of this year, our capacity of the number of students we'll be enrolling in our nursing school nationwide will be over 120,000. We've rejigged our system, we've expanded with the number of schools that have been accredited to admit nurses. So we're aggressively increasing the production of our manpower. As we continue to do that, we're also strengthening our healthcare system by building more infrastructures, equipping, putting state-of-the-art equipment in our hospital. If you see this 2024 budget, this is one budget in the last several years that has significant amount of funds budgeted for infrastructure improvement in our hospitals. As well, of course, as we continue to build more infrastructure, continue to put more equipment in the hospital, we're also looking at improving the welfare of our healthcare workers. We've met with several of the union, JOISU, MDCAN, National Association of Resident Doctors, and NMA. We're collaborating, working on how we can improve their welfare. As you can see, there hasn't been any call for strike. We've told them to trust us, myself and Honorable Mr. Pate. The President wants to move the healthcare sector, move in a way that is sustainable into the future, where every single Nigerian will get healthcare that is comparable to what any civilized society or any advanced democracy that's available to their citizens.
That's very impressive. And it's also interesting to note that you're looking at the take-home. That has been a major complaint for medical personnel in Nigeria. You do know that?
Yes.
Let's get to the meaty matter now. There's talk about organ harvesting, and it's a correlation now with human trafficking. And we're hearing very sordid and heart-rending stories of young people who are willy-nilly giving out their organs for a token. Have you heard about it?
Of course, and we've acted on it, and we continue to act on it. There's several things we're doing. Let me tell Nigerians, the government has zero tolerance for any illegality in the healthcare sector. With particular, I know there's a big news several weeks ago of reported organ harvesting. They interviewed some of the patients that were affected, but then organ harvesting is illegal. Both the buyer and the user of organs, they are both committing illegality. We have a National Health Act of 2014 that spelled out clearly our organ should be used in our country. The process, the transplant, we have several hospitals doing transplant, kidney transplant, and there's a hospital in Lagos now that's planning on starting heart transplant. There are other various kind of transplant, cornea transplant. What you need to do, the procedure for how transplant should be done, it's all laid out in our National Health Act. Now, with this news of illegal harvesting of people's organs, as a ministry, we've done several things. We've jumped on it. We've reported. We're waiting to the Inspector General of Police to investigate the hospitals and the people that are involved. We've also asked the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, the licensing body of doctors and dentists, to investigate those issues, and any physician, any surgeon that is found culpable will be losing their license. Those investigations are going out as we speak. And we've also started complete review of our organ transplantation process in the country. Several committees have been set up in the ministry. We're waiting the report of that. But let me tell Nigerians again, you should not be selling your organ. It's illegal. And whoever is planning to buy or has bought organ from anybody, it's illegal. So we have zero tolerance as a ministry and as a government for that.
You know, to bring this issue to the fore, we had to do some research in different parts of Nigeria, but we focused on Abuja. What we hear is that young people in Maraba, for example, are being paid as little as 50,000, 100,000 to sell their organs. We know you are doing investigation, but while you are investigating and reports are coming in, it is ongoing. It is happening. And we also hear that big hospitals are taking part. We've also got to learn that it takes a very specialized kind of medicine and a medical professional too to carry out such a surgery. That means if we are consistent and very determined, we can fish out those people who are involved in such operations. Now, when they have been caught, what happens?
Oh, good.
We need to see examples being made of these medical professionals. And if they are quacks, they must also face the full wrath of the law. Where are we with that?
Yes, obviously, they will face the full wrath of the law. Now, let me tell you, when we came in as a ministry, as the superintendent ministers at this ministry, we set out 4 pillars. The first pillar is governance. Governance is holding ourselves accountable, holding health facilities accountable, holding physicians accountable. And the second pillar, of course, is improving our health outcome. The third pillar, unlocking the value chain of our healthcare system, where we can begin to use health as a producer of economic growth. Consuming. Now, the third pillar, health, you see healthcare, seeing health beyond physical security, so both social security and national security. It's unfortunate, it's happening. There are a lot of bad actors out there, but the hammer of the government will soon start beating them up. What we're doing about this is to regulate. Well, that's when I said governance. The Medical and Dental Council regulate the license of every physician here. So whoever is caught, the investigations are ongoing. Once it's been confirmed that you are involved in illegally harvesting people's organ or transplanting people's organ illegally, you will lose your license. After you've lost your license, the police, you'll be prosecuted by the police. You know, we are in the health ministry, we'll fish them out, but the police would have to prosecute them. But we're working, this government, there's coordination among all the MDAs. We have one common goal, to carry out the agenda of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But then I need to talk to these young people. I know things are hard, no doubt. The government is working assiduously to improve the economic situation of the country. You should also not be selling your organ. It's illegal. You're damaging your own health. You need these body organs to live. If you start selling part of your body organs, you are compromising your own health, you're compromising your longevity, you can die very soon. And also, people that are buying organs, please be morally upright in what you do. Because you want to live, don't damage the life of your fellow Nigerians. But we as a government, we're doing everything to fish out these bad actors. There will be acquisition, but we have to follow due process. This is a government that believe and operate on due process. We have to. I know people are anxious, but give us time. We're working diligently on this.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Let's look to Yunus. The reason why this kind of underground business, and we hear is a $60 billion industry, this illegal organ sale, it perhaps may be because we don't have a reliable bank, so to speak. I know overseas there's Yunus. What does the continent have? What does Nigeria have? God forbid somebody needs help. The reason why people are doing this because they don't have a legal means to get organs were they to need it. The chance that should happen.
Yeah, you're very, I have to commend your extensive awareness on this. There's Yunus in United States. That's the United Network of Organ Services. Now, we don't have, and I'll be honest with you, we don't have a defined organ monitoring service in our country. Organ procurement. When you talk about organ, Yunus, this is what Yunus does in America, and other United Kingdom also have their own organ procurement service. They procure disease. If there are people that have gotten into accident, they procure the organs. But there's a back-end tissue typing process that's gone in, where people are placed on transplant waiting list. They are weighted on their list, and they do a lot of matching, HLA tissue, HLA human leukocyte antigen matching. So once there's a disease, somebody dies, they do typing, and that matches somebody based on their HLA genotype. They call that person and they transplant such organ. Solid organs, soft tissue organs, solid organs, kidney, heart, liver, and name it. And there are various other types of tissue that can be transplanted. But the other thing they do is that living donor transplant. That you find somebody that's related to you or not related to you. You follow through the organ tissue typing for compatibility, and they transplant them. We don't have that process yet in the country, but that's one of the things we're going to be doing. I was just meeting with the Nigerian Postgraduate Medical Council yesterday, and I spoke to the president, also a nephrologist, a kidney specialist, and we're putting a process together where we're putting a kidney plan for the country. And part of this is we have to start developing our own tissue and organ banking system and registry system and monitoring system. You know, when we came in as a country, there are a lot of things that we need to fix in the eye care sector. This is one of the things we're going to be addressing into the future. By this time, we don't have, and that's why you're very correct. If we have well-organized organ banking system, this illegality, this extensive illegality would not be happening. But those are some of the things we're going to do to strengthen our health care system. The second pillar of our agenda is improving our population health outcome, which involves strengthening of our health care system.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. On a final note, we're wrapping up. I know you have spoken about young people preserving their life and ensuring longevity by not selling their organs for a pittance most of the time. It's really painful. But let's have an all-inclusive overview of where we are and where we want to be, perhaps in the next 6 months or a year. It's been 7 months of this very brilliant and authentic administration, but health is key to productivity. We do know it. So 7 months down the line, a new year is upon us, 11 months left. What do we expect?
Yes, you should expect a lot of good things to happen in the healthcare sector. Like any nation, healthcare is a precursor of economic prosperity. And that's why the government is not taking it, is not treating our healthcare system with levity. We've done a lot. These will start manifesting in the coming months and in the coming years. And I'll tell you several things. Some of the several things we've done. We've really change at the way our research is being done in our country. we are strengthening a primary care system. The indicators that we have now is not acceptable to us. We're mobilizing more resources. We're more organized. We've improved our governance structure. We're oversighting our healthcare institution more. We've inaugurated the Standard and Compliance Committee that will help ensure better regulation of our hospitals. And also, if you heard what happened at the last Federal Executive Council meeting, Mr. President was very worried, was very concerned about the high cost of pharmaceutical consumable in the country and the high cost of medical consumable. He made everybody contribute, and we have a plan. He wants us to now work with the Attorney General Office to put a whole set of plans together where he can now sign executive orders as law to quickly start palliating what we have now, so that Nigerians can begin to actually get cheaper medications, medical consumable. But it's a journey, but we've started well. And Nigerians will be assured you enjoy meaningful, comprehensive healthcare in the not too distant future.
Wow, what a wonderful way to wrap up our conversation. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of State for Health, Honorable Tunji Alausa. It's been a real pleasure and a very enlightening chat indeed we have had.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it is We Can Deal, and our focus has been on organ harvesting and illegal kidney market. That was a discussion Thelma had with the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa. That was a very hopeful discussion. Hajia, what do you think?
Well, it was a very interesting discussion, and I am not sure what to think. Laudable ideas and things they want to do. I just hope they come to pass. I just hope it goes beyond the statements, because he also mentioned that they're investigating the matter. Mm-hmm. He mentioned that the Medical and Dental Council Nigeria is also investigating the matter. Well, I hope they make this open, and I hope we get to hear the reports of their investigation, because this is a council that is investigating its members. And I hope that the investigation is not only left to the council. He said also the ministry has also come up with various committees, and they are looking into this. Yes, and I also want to also say that I hope we get to see or hear reports coming from these committees, because the truth is that we are all affected. We want to know what is happening. We want to see this. And then I don't think that we have to wait for these reports before security agents can launch their own investigation. Yes, they can also investigate. And I want, please correct me if I want to believe that security agents know of this market. They know it is happening. Yes, if they didn't know, I'm sure our story must have exposed this. Because why am I saying they know? Because even before the victims came to us, some of them had gone to security agents. Yes, they had gone to different security agents. So security agents know of this, but do we have the wherewithal to look into this and to take it to conclusion? I think during the interview, there was a mention of the fact that one of the major things we need to see is that we need to see an example. Yes. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to other people. Because Nigerians just believe that, nothing is going to happen. Yes. Even after we did our investigation, a lot of people came up to say, well, you've done your part, but this is Nigeria, nothing is going to happen. That was what people were telling us. So we will need to see a difference. And if this administration insists that it's here to make changes, it's here to sanitize the health sector, please, let's see that. It shouldn't just stop at making statements.
We need to thank you. Hajia Lami was still talking. There are many features put together to further drive home our point and insist that the narrative must change. One of such is research done by Ayuba Tete. He tags this one Forgotten Lives. There are those who are set up and trapped into kidney harvesting market, but there are those who willy-nilly say, I need this box, perhaps 50,000, 100,000, 1 million. I'm willing to give this to you and use this money. But like I asked Patience earlier on today, when that money you have collected is exhausted, are you willing to sell yet another organ? Ayuba, tell us this story.
The intrinsic worth of life is not based on its mere existence, but rather in the avenue it provides for experiences. Humans attribute significance to life not solely based on its physical state of being alive, but more importantly, in its capacity to facilitate meaningful and enriching experiences. Kamal, an aspiring film student, is one of such people who had the opportunity to be granted such experiences. He was fortunate to travel abroad to study, but living life on the fast lane veered him off his chosen path to where he was offered to sell one of his kidneys.
I met Emeka, and Emeka was good. He spent a lot of money for us. We were having fun, but he now said, what if I sell my kidney? I can make extra cash for myself and even send to my family. And I was like, okay, fine. I just got in, and Emeka was happy doing it. We were just supposed to go in, come out clean, just quietly. They give us some cash to chill, like maybe commitment or something, but it was fun. Like, yeah, we had cash, we were the talk of the hostel, school, and all. We were now at that point where they had to run some tests to see if our kidneys were okay and all that. And there was a long queue though, but we were supposed to do that just to get set. They said in 2 weeks' time, then we can come back. Then they do the whole process and we are done. But that 2 weeks, Emeka got in. I couldn't go in because somebody missed his turn and he now came. So I now had to wait. Then him and Emeka went. I was waiting for Emeka 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. Then Emeka agent, okay, the guy that signed, that we did the whole signing and all that, now called me. And I was like asking Emeka. He was now telling me that they had some complications, so Emeka couldn't make it. And I was like, Emeka can't make it. Then me, now you want me to make it? How? And he was like, I gave you money, you ate my money. So you just have to do it. So the agent was all over and he was like, you signed. Yeah, you signed the paper, so I have to keep up to my own bargain. He gave me money, yes, I took it. But Emeka dying now, and he's now telling me that I have to come because that money was not for fancy. And I started looking for the way out. And somehow, yeah, abandoning school, being a dropout, yeah, I know I knew the consequences because I will come back, face my mother who sold some of our plots, some of our jewelries and all that to push me down there. And I just said, damn the school, and I sorted my way back home.
Now, after all has been said and done, was it all worth it?
And family were very disappointed. Yeah, not even family, me myself. What's the use of $100,000 when my mother barely talks to me? She hardly says anything to me. Like in my own house, I'm like a fugitive.
It's unfortunate what Kamal has to go through, but he is actually fortunate to be alive, to right his past wrongs and learn from his mistakes moving forward, and to teach others through his experiences, and in the process enjoy a new dawn after the darkness.
Wow. Our guest is still here. I'll be talking to you directly. I mean, what is your experience? I mean, looking at this story, watching this story of Emeka and Kamal, do you meet people like that? Do you still meet people like that? Because I know your research is ongoing. Do you still meet young people who are not deterred and will say, I still want to do this?
Yes, there are. You see, it just tells you that this is a global thing. It's happening everywhere. I remember when we had an undercover, and they brought someone who was willing to sell his kidney to me. This was a 35, 37, I'm not so sure the age, either 35 or 37-year-old man, father of 2, the wife, and he told me he was willing to sell his kidney because he needed to take care of his family. So some people are willingly, trying to sell their kidneys because they have financial challenges and they don't know what to do. And then we have, again, a group of people who feel, well, I want to live the life. I want to have the good things in life. I see children of people who are rich and wealthy having big phones and other things. I want to also be like that. So you get to meet a lot of these people. And even after our stories, we started to, you could see it even on social media, people saying, where can I sell my own? So people are willing to sell their kidney. It's a big problem we need to tackle.
We must take. Hajia Lami, thank you for what you're sharing with us today. Earlier on in the show, I was asking Nigerians and the world, after the money you collect for selling that organ is expended, are you willing to sell another? Thankfully, we have 2 kidneys. Hopefully, they are healthy. You've given out 1. When that money you have collected is exhausted, what's next? Why don't we look inwards to ingenious ideas? There are many messages for you. We'll take as much as we can, perhaps 2 or 3. Someone is saying they commend you for the excellent work you've done. They ask you not to relent on your oars. That please, you are working for Nigeria and you are saving homes, families, and lives.
Thank you.
Well done, Hajia Lami. Someone is also asking here, people have sold their organs in the past. Why shouldn't I sell mine? After all, are there any side effects if I have 2 healthy kidneys, for example? Can you quickly?
Okay, I'm not a medical doctor, but from my conversation with nephrologists, you find that especially for this kind of mass commercialization of kidneys, there is a tendency that those who have donated their kidney for this kind of, because there is no proper medical evaluation, have a tendency of coming up with chronic kidney disease in future. And then what happens? You may not have the money to now get a transplant because originally you are from a poor background who has sold his kidney, let's say for 1 million naira. So what happens to you when that time comes? So the fear is that if we allow this kind of commercialization to go on, our youth population in the next 10, 15 years, we may begin to see high chronic kidney diseases among our youth population. This is based on my discussion with a nephrologist.
Yeah. Illegal organ harvesting and trafficking is a no-no, but I must quickly add that there are ways you can actually donate your organ to a loved one to save life or to improve health, but it must be done legally. God continue to save Nigeria. And good luck to Nigeria on the march today. Thelma.
God bless Nigeria. Let's go. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye.